In today's video, I'm going to be explaining Backrooms Level 94, along with the discovery log behind it and its connected sublevel, 94.1. This is honestly one of the most unique levels I've ever covered. A whole cheerful little town, a floating castle, and some genuinely wild lore behind all of it. It's a lot to get through, so if that sounds interesting, stick around for the whole thing. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Level 94 doesn't look like anywhere else in the backrooms. Instead of hallways or flooded tile, you get an entire town, rolling grass hills, and a castle floating somewhere off in the distance. But the moment you actually take it in, something's wrong with it. Officially, this level carries a Class 3 rating, unsafe, unsecure, with a medium entity count. Everything has this grainy, jittery quality, like you're watching stop-motion animation instead of standing in a real place. The whole level looks handmade, built frame by frame, and you're walking directly through it. The town itself is frozen somewhere in the 1930s to 1950s. Rows of small, nearly identical houses line the streets, each one furnished like something pulled from an old catalog. Vintage cars roll down the roads alongside milk delivery vans, except what they're actually carrying is almond milk. Poles positioned around town work like old-fashioned sirens, occasionally crackling to life with cheerful, cartoonish music straight out of a 1930s animated short. Right in the center sits a large fountain, constantly flowing with almond water, easily one of the most reliable water sources you'll find anywhere in the backrooms. During the day, it's genuinely safe. No entities, no threats, just an unsettlingly cheerful little town that never fully stops feeling artificial. That feeling only gets stronger once you head past the houses into the surrounding hills. They stretch out infinitely in every direction, and scattered across them are things that don't belong. A single armchair sitting alone in a field, a bedroom with only one wall and no house around it, a water tower still holding more almond water. It's less a landscape and more like someone scattered set pieces across an empty stage and never got around to building the rest of it. Past the hills, hovering above what looks like an invisible, transparent mountain, sits the floating castle. And here's the strange part: get close enough to it, and the grainy stop-motion effect actually starts breaking down. Step inside, and it disappears completely. The castle interior looks and feels completely normal. Nothing animated about it at all. Inside, it's less a castle and more an oversized funhouse, ball pits, playgrounds, sliding halls, and one specific room that stands out, an animation studio containing a miniature replica of the town outside. Entities included, like whoever built this level keeps a working model of their own creation sitting right there. Everything about that cheerful little town only holds up while the sun's up. Once night falls, the level flips completely. The music from the siren poles cuts out without warning, and that's your only real warning before the animations show up. These are the level's signature entities, and the name says exactly what they are: cartoon characters, except rendered as something closer to monstrous. Exaggerated proportions, animated with that same jittery frame-by-frame motion as the rest of the level. What makes them especially dangerous isn't just their strength, it's what triggers them. They attack anything that doesn't look animated, which means normal backrooms entities, smilers, skin stealers, hounds, death moths, all of them become targets too the moment night falls here. The only creatures that seem to have adapted are the death rats, which have evolved to visually match that same cartoon style, letting them blend in and survive. The only entities native to the castle are called Robo-Men, animated like old 1930s toy robots, and they act as its guards. They won't bother you for simply being there, but interact with the wrong object inside, and they'll come after you fast. Deep inside the castle, past a door that reportedly appears in a different, random spot for each person searching for it, is the throne room, home to the animated king. It's not immediately hostile, and it doesn't fight you directly either. It places you into a kind of trance and pulls something out of your own head, an animated version of whatever genuinely frightened you as a kid. You have to face that manifestation and beat it. Succeed, and the king congratulates you before literally bursting into light, sending you off to a random level elsewhere in the backrooms. Getting into level 94 requires successfully escaping a level called the End first. From there, you make your way to the hub, and at some point, a rectangular opening appears on the ground in a random spot. It doesn't stay open for long either. It starts closing shortly after it shows up. so if you're aiming for this level specifically, you need to move fast once you spot it. Getting out splits into two real options. The more direct one means finding your way to the animated king, facing down whatever fear it pulls out of your head, and surviving that trial. Do that, and you get sent out to a random level with no way to choose where you land. The safer, more reliable route skips the king entirely. Certain houses scattered through the town connect directly to other levels if you find the right one. Confirmed connections lead to level 7, level 9, and level 53. As for actually living here, this isn't a level anyone's fully settled yet. MEG has been actively working on establishing a foothold, but as of now, there's no confirmed established outpost to rely on. Which brings us to the story of how this level got documented in the first place, because it's a genuinely wild account. There's a full recovered log documenting how level 94 was first found, and it starts with a wanderer who escaped a level called the End, ended up in the hub, and stumbled straight into a rectangular opening that had appeared out of nowhere on the ground. He made contact with MEG, over radio, clearly rattled, describing everything around him as crafted, not real, and mentioned he was already running low on almond water. Mid-conversation, the music around him just stopped. He said it was suddenly night. Then the call cut out entirely. He didn't check back in until the next morning, alive but shaken. A recovery team was sent in through his last known entry point, and what they found matched his description almost exactly. A stop-motion town straight out of an old animated film. Milk vans running on almond milk instead of the real thing. Cartoonish furniture in every house. One team member reportedly joked they weren't in Kansas anymore, which, given what happened next, turned out to be putting it lightly. They noted the same repeating tune looping from the siren poles, over and over, until it started to wear on them too. The team ran for the nearest confirmed exit, a flooded house leading straight to level 7, and held their ground there until sunrise, barely making it through the night intact, with one member narrowly avoiding getting caught by a stray animation that wandered into their camp. Once morning came, the group pushed on toward the castle, since that's where their missing wanderer had last been seen. Along the way, the hills around them kept getting stranger. Isolated furniture, single rooms sitting with no walls, an old coin dated to 1953 turning up in the middle of nowhere, until they finally reached the castle itself, revealing the transparent mountain holding it up from underneath. Inside, the team found the place completely free of that grainy animated effect, something that came as a genuine relief after a full day of it. They explored a funhouse-like layout, ball pits, looping halls, and that animation studio with its miniature replica of the town. After interacting with the exhibits, they were confronted by the Roboman guards, and had to split up to lose them. Eventually, each team member found their own separate doorway to the throne room, all appearing in different random spots. Inside, they found their missing wanderer, frozen in place and speaking as though something else was controlling him, which is exactly what was happening. The animated king, described as stone-like but fully capable of moving and speaking, was in the process of what it called a transformation. Before the team could act, the king manifested each of their worst childhood fears as living animations for them to face individually. One team member specifically described recognizing his own fear as nothing more than old self-doubt, and once he understood that, he was able to fight past it. After the team overcame their respective fears, the king congratulated them and burst into light, scattering each team member to a different random level entirely, one to level 1, others eventually making their way back through level 7, and another ended up on level 4. Every member was eventually recovered safely, and this entire account became the foundation for what we now know as level 94. There's a connected sublevel to all of this, level 94.1, and it tells a very different side of the story. It comes from field notes written by a wanderer exploring the area, and what she found paints a much sadder picture of what's actually going on here. The hills in this sublevel are styled like autumn instead of the main level's more vibrant look, and noticeably less polished, less realistic even by this level's already strange standards. The locals here, other animations, want nothing to do with outsiders. They wouldn't let her into their homes, wouldn't let her near their fountain, and never seemed to rest at all, awake constantly through day and night. Compared to their counterparts back in the main town though, they were at least far less aggressive. Curious about why this place existed at all, She eventually cornered one of them and asked directly about the animated king. The answer she got was bitter. The king had abandoned this part of his own kingdom without any explanation, leaving them to fend for themselves. Searching for answers, she found an old tower standing out from everything else around it, oddly more realistic than its surroundings. Inside, she encountered a robed figure who introduced itself as a wizard. Another animation, but one the king had originally created differently, gifted with actual free will and real magical ability, meant to help rule alongside him. That arrangement fell apart once the wizard suggested extending that same free will to every other animation in the kingdom. The king refused, and when pushed, tried to kill the wizard outright. The two fought to a standstill, evenly matched since they shared the same power, and the wizard fled rather than risk losing, getting formally exiled in the process. It settled in this sublevel and tried to convince the local animations they didn't need their king at all. The problem was, they didn't want that freedom, they wanted their king back, and refused to listen no matter what the wizard tried. By its own account, the king stays away out of fear of the wizard, and the wizard stays put out of fear of the king, trapped in exactly the standoff you'd expect. The wizard tried something drastic, gathering the local animations together and attempting to erase their memories of the king entirely, hoping that without the memory, they'd finally embrace being independent. Instead, it went horribly wrong. The animations panicked and turned on each other. Every attempt the wizard made to fix the fallout only made things worse. Bigger houses that turned out completely empty inside, a river that came out polluted, a spell meant to bring happiness that instead left them frozen and unmoving entirely. It became clear the wizard was cursed in some way, unable to create anything that didn't end up broken. Devastated, it withdrew completely, locking itself away and refusing to respond to anyone, including the wanderer who'd been documenting all of this. She eventually broke in to check on it and found it curled up, genuinely grieving over what it had tried and failed to do. After she offered a small amount of reassurance, something about not everything being within anyone's control, the wizard seemed to accept it, then used the last of its power for one final act, reversing the effects of its own magic and restoring the animations back to how they'd originally been. Almost immediately, the castle reappeared in the sky above them, along with the transparent mountain beneath it. The king had returned. Whether that ending is a genuine resolution or just the wanderer's account cutting off before the real consequences played out is left open. But it's a strange, quietly tragic footnote to a level that otherwise reads as cheerful town by day, deadly hunting ground by night. Underneath all of that, there's apparently a story about a creature that tried to give its own kind freedom and just wasn't equipped to pull it off.